When did you realize that your family's obsession with social media had gone way too far? My mom is the most entitled beach I've ever met. She was the type to believe that she should be handed money simply for existing. So by the time I was 10 years old, me and my older sister Zara, who was 11, had spent our entire lives living in a trailer in the middle of nowhere. And it was around this time that the YouTube era really took off. You know, the challenges, slime videos, toy unboxings. So when child influencers started popping up, she turned us into her gold mines. She set up cameras all around the house, said it was for security, started feeding us 3 times the amount of food to make us stand out. By 11 years old, I was 120 pounds and 4'6", while my older sister was 12 years old, 4'8" and 145 pounds. You see, she always gave in to my mom's demands more than me. She would start her morning by guzzling one of those mass gainer protein shakes and wash it down with a huge burger. So her career took off before mine. Mom used to film her rolling around in the garden, falling over in playgrounds, and sometimes pranking her. I remember when Zara hit her first 500K view video, Mom told her she was the best daughter a mother could ask for, and even took her out shopping. I'm so glad you're not like your freeloader sister who can't make me happy for shit. Her backhanded comments were designed to hurt me, but instead they just made me feel bad for Zara, because I was forced to watch as she became more and more brainwashed. Eventually she had so many sponsor deals and basically became the breadwinner of the family that I couldn't even compete anymore. So I stopped gaining so much weight and instead got to live life as a healthy, happy girl. And I tried to flaunt this to Zara, hoping it would make something click in her head. I'm so full. I'm gonna stop eating now, I'd proudly exclaim at the dinner table. Or sometimes I'd walk into Zara's room and talk about how happy I was to have some privacy, but it never worked. And by the time she had turned 15, they had published over 1,000 fat girl videos, so the trend was over. Then came the next wave of mom's BS, her obsession with beauty. I still remember the day she came home with her first tummy tuck. She was showing it off to me while she stared at herself in the mirror. My mom hugged her super tight, and that evening she literally threw a party for Zara. Not for her birthday, not for any major celebration. It was solely to commemorate her existence. Over the next few weeks, Zara became mom's little Barbie doll. Platinum blonde hair, lip filler, liposuction. By this point, I was 13 years old and hadn't been shown any affection from my family since the fat girl era. And even though I knew it was wrong, all I wanted was my mom's approval. So I agreed to get lip filler and cut my diet down to 1 meal a day. And she thanked me, but that was it, because it was already too late. Zara had a fan base who loved her, and to the world, I would always just be Zara's sister. In the streets, boys would come up to me and tell me that Zara had rejected them and ask if I wanted to give them a chance instead. Other times, people would befriend me for months, and then I'd found out it was only because they wanted to feature on Zara's social media. And I didn't even have a sister anymore, because anytime I tried to talk to her, she would convince me to get surgery and become an influencer. Fast forward to when I turned 17, and I finally moved out for college. I changed all my social media to a completely new name and moved to Jamestown in Tennessee, somewhere no one would recognize me. I finally got my fresh start. I practiced intuitive eating, and my weight stopped fluctuating. I met friends who loved me for who I was. I stopped feeling like I was being watched 24/7. And a few years later, when I was doing my routine check of Zara's social media, I saw that she had stopped posting. This was strange because she was still getting millions of views, and her comments were filled with love. Part of me was extremely worried, but mostly I was curious as heck. So much so that I ended up going back home for Thanksgiving that year. The second my mom opened the door, she slapped me across the face. "You fat pig! How could you have let go of yourself so badly?" I sighed and just shoved past her, completely expecting this response. "Zara, get out here. Show your sister what you've been working on." That's when I heard it, a vomiting sound coming from the bathroom. I walked in and saw Zara hunched over the toilet bowl, forcing herself to throw up. Tears formed in my eyes. I instinctively ran over to her and cleaned her mouth up with a tissue. Her eyes had this faraway look like she had been numb for years. As I tried to help her stand, I ended up accidentally lifting her from the floor. That's how light she had become. Mom says I can't post until I'm beautiful again. Her words were slurred and she was practically on the verge of death. I was ready to make our mom pay. Full story on channel, link below.